What's up guys, Ben Milliken here from Mystery Tackle Box. If you guys watch my channel, you'll know that this spring I learned a brand new finesse rig that actually caught my biggest smallmouth ever and several others over 5 pounds, and it's a rig that you maybe have never seen before. It's a Carolina rig. Of course you guys have seen a Carolina rig before and you've seen Texas rigs before. We're going to use both in this rigging system, but you've maybe never applied it like we're going to, and that is with a swim bait, a swimming swim bait, not a fluke or something with no action, but an actual swim bait on the back of this rig. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to tie this rig, where to throw it, why I like to tie it that way, why I like to throw it in the areas I throw it, and then hopefully we're going to go out and catch some fish on it as well. It's going to be a good one. So really quick, before we get started fishing this Finesse Carolina rig, of course, I got to show you guys how to rig this exactly. I start with a main line of 10 pound or 15 pound braid, and then I'll put an 8 pound leader. So we're going to need a section of line of 8 pound line. You don't need very much. I generally like about a 1.5 foot long leader. We're going to need a 1/4 ounce bullet weight. So that's going to be the first thing that goes in the line. I really like the 1/4 ounce or 3/16 ounce size if you're fishing some more shallow water. We're going to let that free swing, you know, just like on a Carolina rig. This right here is a very, very important part, and you're barely going to be able to see it, but this little swivel, the little itty bitty tiny swivel, it's still strong. It's still rated for like 30 pounds. So, I mean, unless you're catfishing, I don't think you're going to have any bass or anything that's going to break or damage this swivel. But that little itty baby swivel that we're going to tie on this guy right now keeps this bait extremely weedless. This bait comes through all different types of cover very, very well. So much better than a traditional Carolina rig because it's so much smaller. It doesn't get bogged up with a big heavy weight, and because of that little tiny baby swivel, especially if you're fishing areas that have a lot of scum on the bottom of the lake, that little swivel comes through it much, much better than any that I've ever found. Look how small that thing is right there. And then we're just going to take our little section of line, attach it to the other end of the swivel, of course, if you guys are not familiar with what a Carolina rig looks like. Boom, so we got that guy attached right there. So we got our 2 knots, we'll trim those up in a second. Got about a, this is about an 18-inch leader, so that's good, that's what we want. And we're gonna attach a extra wide gap hook. This is a 3/0 EWG. I haven't matched this up with this size exo swim yet, but I think this is gonna work really, really well. It's gonna match the bait well. And basically whatever swim bait you're gonna use, you just wanna find a hook that's big enough, has a wide enough gap that the plastic's not going to be in the way, but you don't want it too big so the bait still has a lot of action. When I took this out of the pack next to this 3 1/4 smaller size exo swim, it matched up pretty dang well. So we're just gonna, you know, Texas rig on the back of this guy right here. We'll get everything trimmed up in just a second, but that's it. That is a straight up Texas rigged, as weedless as it gets. That's the rig, guys. Pretty wild and very, very effective. So for me, the most important thing about this Finesse Carolina rig bait is that it is extremely effective for anglers of all different skill levels. My buddy Oliver actually showed me this, and he said it started as a way for him as a guide to get clients on fish that maybe aren't the most experienced. So a lot of times, you know, he'd have like a wife, a kid, someone on the boat that was with the person, the main person he's guiding, and they weren't super familiar with casting bait, casting tackle, really working baits that required a lot of action applied to them. And so he'd give them this rig right here, because the thing that's great about it is it swims on the way down. So if you're fishing areas that are super, super deep, 20, 30, 50 feet of water, that bait's got action even if it's not on the bottom. But the great thing is it's a do-nothing bait. I mean, I've even seen him cast it out, let it sink to the bottom, put his foot on his rod, pick up another rod, and just go fish with a different bait at the exact same time. And it's because of that, and the nature of it is you can work it ultra, ultra slow. I mean, this is the biggest do-nothing bait ever. I like to work it in just really slow drags. I'll pull my rod like 2 or 3 feet at a time, let it sit in one spot for 5, 10, 15 seconds, and then just repeat that process over and over. But it's a bait that it's got action when you give it the lightest movement, and then when it doesn't have any action, when it's just sitting there, it looks like a dead bait fish. I think there's a lot of fish that die or they're dying in that process, more than we see on the bottom of the lakes. This is a great imitator of one of those fish that's dead, but then it moves a little bit and the fish just absolutely can't resist it. I catch so many good fish on this. Now, even though I would classify this bait and rigging system as like the ultimate do nothing rigging system that anyone can get out and catch fish on, there are things that I look for personally when I get out and throw this that have helped me catch a ton more fish. To me, this bait and this rigging system is the most effective fishing structure, not cover, and especially structure in hard bottom areas. And that's exactly what we got right back here behind me right here. You can see this over here in this area, there's a big point that comes out. It's an underwater point that has a lot of scattered hard rock on it. That's an absolutely perfect place to throw this bait. And when I say it's better in structure than cover, it does come through brush and rock and different types of timber and stuff like that very well. But this guy's absolutely deadly on areas where it's just a bottom contour change, a hard patch of bottom. Anytime there's a break or a drop off, especially a point, that's when this guy's getting the nod for me. Oh, okay. Fish was coming at me the entire time. Actually feels like a good one too. What the hell? Bullet weight's way up here. How big are you? Oh God! Yep. We're gonna be a little careful with him. We got our 8-pound line on. Stay out of the trolling motor, please. Okay. Yep, this is what I'm talking about when I say this bait catches some good fish, guys. Look at this guy right here. Don't jump. Okay. Don't you do it. Oh, you bet. Look at that. Little swim bait. It's in his jaw. Fell right out. Look how thick that fish is. That's like a solid 4-pound bass on the little Finesse Carolina rig. So badass. Beautiful fish. Get her back in. Oh, that water's warm. Here she goes. Well guys, hopefully I've shown you a new way you can fish an old school Carolina type rig with this little tiny swim bait, Texas rigged on the back of it. Super, super amazing, versatile fish catching bait that you can throw in just about any type of cover or situation, especially when the bite is really, really tough. Remember, go out and throw this guy around structure, especially points, hard bottom, just drag it around. Don't give it too much action, and hopefully you'll catch a few fish like that. Anyways, thanks for watching this one, guys. I'm out of here.